Knoxville favorites take a beating. Who's in and who's out after night one? Plus, we'll talk North-South 100 for Lucas and show you guys a very interesting sprint car experiment that appeared at Knoxville on Wednesday. Let's go. It's Thursday, August 8th. I'm Justin Fiedler. This is DIRTRACKR Daily presented by Kubota Genuine Parts. Today's episode of the Daily is again being supported by Jeremy Elliott's SprintCarUnlimited.com. If you're a sprint car fan and are looking for in-depth coverage, breaking news, driver interviews, and a whole lot more, hit up SprintCarUnlimited.com. Jeremy is on site in Knoxville all week covering everything Knoxville Nationals. Has already been pumping out content. Today, he's got stories about Gio Scelzi and Jacob Allen. He's got a preview for night two, plus a bunch of video content. A membership to SprintCarUnlimited.com, usually $35 for the year, which is already not that much. That's less than $3 a month. But through the Nationals, he's running a 20% off special where you can get a full year for just $28. Use code SCUMOM2024 at checkout to take advantage. That's SCUMOM2024 for 20% off. Make sure as well to go subscribe to his Sprint Car Unlimited YouTube channel. He's got a daily sprint car show, weekly long form interviews. And right now you can go watch reactions from both Gio and Jacob from last night post-race. And everything on his YouTube channel, it's free to watch. Thanks to Jeremy for his support of the Daily Show this week. Go check his stuff out when you get an opportunity. Knoxville Nationals night one in the books, and as usual, no lack of storylines to dive into. The format and the amount of cars always ends up catching some guys out, and last night it was two potential favorites. Both David Gravel and Gio Scelzi are on the outside looking in, and before yesterday, you may have got me to bet on one missing out, but definitely not both. Gravel is right in the points range for a Saturday B-main start, and Schatz will have to come back on Friday to try again as he's way down in 25th in event points. This is uncharted territory for Donny. Looking at their nights, both guys with issues, but very different problems. Gravel qualified well, but then couldn't do anything in his heat race and needed last lap B-main heroics to make the night's feature. He went 24th to 15th in the main event. Schatz, though, really seeming to lack pace all around. A poor qualifying lap set him back from the start. He did win his heat race from the pole, and then he could have salvaged the night with a good feature finish, but he was only 18th after 25 laps, actually getting lapped right at the checkered. TSR 15 squad was some significant work to do before a Friday Hard Knocks appearance. There were definitely a few track prep rumblings last night, and those who went out late in qualifying appeared to be at a significant disadvantage, but that doesn't explain everything, and there were plenty of guys who went against the trend. And names like Brock Zierfoss, Craig Kinzer, Brandon Wimmer, Sam Haverteep, Jamie Ball, all of those guys qualified after Donny and went faster. And passing was possible in the feature. We had Anthony Macri going 21st to 10th, Gravel went 24th to 15th, and the night's winner came from 6th. As for good news, based on previous seasons, we're probably looking at 8 lock-ins from last night. That includes feature winner Gio Scelzi and second place runner Jacob Allen. Jacob was impressive after not running the Nationals last year. He went 4-2 in his heat and led 22 laps. And then Gio looked like a man on a mission, especially late in that main event. He charged from 6th to the win, making a ballsy move between Allen and the lap car of Matt Jewell to take the lead. Gio is high point man, followed by Anthony Macri, Scott Boguski, Corey Day, Brett Marks, Sheldon Haudenschild, Chase Randall, and Allen. I think Allen should be safe with 453 points, and then Justin Peck in 9th with 450. He might be just outside. That's an interesting top 8, though, with everybody but Allen and Marks back in the Saturday main event from 2023. The next 5 after Jacob, looking at a potential Saturday B-main, are Peck, Jewell, Gravel, Williamson, and maybe Zierfoss. And then everyone from Reitzel and 14th on back will be back on Friday. Names in that group also include, like I said, Schatz, PPM, Danny Dietrich, Buddy Kofoid, and Kerry Madsen. Looking ahead to today, another 55 cars on the pre-entry list. Highlights in tonight's field include Logan Schuchart, Tyler Courtney, Brian Brown, Rico Abreu, James McFadden, Darren Pittman, Brad Sweet, Carson Macedo, and last year's winner Kyle Larson. Odds are that at least a few of these guys will be on the outside looking in come Friday and Saturday. As we talked about yesterday, those heats, they're going to again be key for tonight, and the streak stays alive of no back row transfers. Jace Park got the closest last night. He went 9th to 6th in Heat 5. Drop me a comment. Let me know who you've got in tonight's action. Staying with Knoxville, I wanted to point you guys towards a science experiment that was in the field last night. I know that some of you noticed that Sammy Swindell was in attendance and ended up having an absolutely miserable night. No time in qualifying, didn't get to run a heat, and then was 9th in the C-main. Their Wednesday was undone by a brand new U-joint coming apart after just 3 laps. I was told that one of the clips that holds the U-joint together was not installed properly when it was built, and it just fell out. They actually had to cut the driveline out of the car to fix it, and then they ran the C-main just to feel the car out. They'll obviously be back on Friday for the Hard Knocks portion. Maybe they can get a little further up in the field. But the car itself is very different than anything else around it in the pit area. It's not using a traditional torsion bar setup, but instead coilover shocks all the way around. The rear shocks are mounted on the car just about where you would expect them to be, but they do have a bag over them, which that's not something you normally see a lot of times with the sprint cars. And then if you look at the front, the left front mounted kind of where you would expect the shock to be mounted on a car, but the right front mounted inboard with a cantilever setup. Very different looking car. This car is owned and was designed by Sean Wood, and it was built by Flea Ruzick. Flea and Sammy actually play guitars together, and Flea recruited him to come take a look and offer up any feedback since Sammy has done coilover cars before. In the midst of all of that, Sammy agreed to help them and then test drive the car and drive it at Knoxville. Coming into the week, they had only put about 15 laps on it. I talked a bit with Flea about the project. He said the 3 of them like the challenge of trying to figure this car and concept out, and he recognizes it's not for everyone. He said the coilovers give them more options, they've got less bind and are quicker reacting. They can also change spring rates a lot easier. They are equipped for the challenge, though, because you likely won't find 3 more capable car builders anywhere else in the Knoxville infield on one team together. It's certainly a risky proposition, and the odds are certainly against them on Friday and Saturday, but I love the attempt at trying to do something different. I'm rooting for them. You know, I have to be honest here. And just like I did, you might be asking why coilover cars don't appear more often, and the answer is really that risk. I had another friend tell me you can go basically buy a Maxim chassis, 4,000-pound torsion bars, and be pretty close in the ballpark for a setup. If you're trying to run a series or track for points, you don't have the time to experiment with something like coilovers. You stick with what you know. In an era, though, of very little experimentation in sprint car racing, I like stuff like this, and it's stories like these that make me really love doing this show. I get sent some photos, I then fire off a few messages, and I can then share a cool thing with you guys. Thanks to Flea and all of those out there in the industry who share their insights and answer my messages and stupid questions, and big thanks to Paul Arch for the great images of the car. Moving on, it's obviously a big sprint car focus week, but I don't want to gloss over a dirt late model crown jewel that's happening this weekend. North-South 100 for the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series at Florence Speedway begins tonight. You've got dual 6,000 to win features tonight and tomorrow, and then 75,000 to win on Saturday. No World of Outlaws this week, so most of the heavy hitters will be in attendance. That obviously includes the Lucas regulars, but expect as well names like Bobby Pierce, Brandon Overton, Ryan Gustin, Kyle Bronson, and a lot more. Besides the big money on the line, which Pierce won last year, we've also got a tight ongoing battle for that final Lucas Chase spot. Hudson O'Neal has it with SSI Motorsports, and Tim McCready trails by just 20 points in that Rocket House car. This will also be our first look at the new setup for Koehler Motorsports and Ricky Thornton Jr. That 20RT squad now has Chris Madden as crew chief and Ricky Arnold and DJ Williams as crew members. They're rolling out a brand new Longhorn chassis this weekend, and what I'm assuming will be a more permanent wrap on that car, incorporating the sponsors that RTJ is bringing with him. Remember that the car Thornton had been running was Jordan Kohler's 114 with basically a 20RT sticker just slapped on both sides. I was hoping either RTJ or the team would give us a teaser of the car on social media, but no such luck so far. So we'll have to wait until later today when they roll it out of the truck. If you are headed for Florence, y'all, you can watch all weekend live over on Flow Racing. There's also plenty of other dirt racing going on this weekend. I don't want to gloss over that either. So stop by DIRTRACKR.com, check out the streaming schedule for your other options. I think we're going to call it good right there for today. With so much going on, though, there is a very reasonable chance that we either do a bonus daily tomorrow or maybe another live stream. So stay tuned for that. Check out your notifications. I hope you guys have a great Thursday out there. Enjoy the racing to come. We will see you back here soon.